Welcome everyone. Thank you for attending the OpenE webinar. Just wanted to make sure before we start, we were just checking everything. It looks like we're good to go. What we want to talk about today is antivirus, configuration and scheduling to be used with your NAS shares. So we're going to go over a couple things before we roll right into actually performing the actual antivirus setup and functionality. And what we're going to talk about is first, we're going to go over basically setting up the NICs, the network interface controllers, the DNS, and the gateway. This allows us to download the latest databases for what's known as CLAM AV. So what we'll do at that point in time is then set up the NAS volume. We've already configured one for your view, and then of course we'll enable the antivirus service. Then we'll update the antivirus updates, and then we'll create the antivirus task. So what we're going to start off with, and today is the 28th, and my name is Todd Maxwell, and alongside with me is Chris Wilson, part of our OpenE sales team for North America. All right, let's begin. We're going in here, and we're going to start off with the DSSV6. By the way, before we start, if you look, on the right side, there is a chat window. There are some that are saying that the phone is breaking up. Just in case the contact, try to use your voice over IP. We heard that there could be a bad connection on the conference call system, and that could be the cause for it. So if you could bear with us, we'll work on that. But I want to let you know that on the right side of the window, there is a chat window. Many of you are chatting right now. There's also the voice over IP. So if you have a microphone on your system, please enable it, and you'll be able to get the sound through the voice over IP through the NetViewer. Right now I'm working with the DSSV6. The build that I'm working with, which is the latest build, is 5377. And what we're going to start off right now is we're going to first go off what we talked about. When you do the antivirus, it's all based on the NAS volumes that you create. So just to get everybody up to speed about the NAS volumes, what you want to do is go to Configuration, in Volume Manager, and in Volume Groups. Here you have your units that you have, and you'll see that we have a VG00. And on the left, here's the VG00 being presented. Now, we've created a NAS volume. You can create one of any size. You can add more logical volumes as well besides NAS. You can have iSCSI, fiber channel, snapshots. But for this purpose, for the antivirus only works for the NAS volumes. So now once we have our NAS volume, let's go ahead and basically what we want to do is create the NAS share. And the reason for this is that you cannot do this step until you create the NAS share, as you will see. Now let me demonstrate. If I go to Configuration and NAS Settings, where the antivirus is right here near the bottom, if I try to click it and hit Apply, it will state that I need to choose a share first. So we have to create the share. So what you want to do is go to Configuration, NAS Resources, and NAS Shares. And here you'll see that I've already created a share called Data. In Data we have some files. Bear in mind that the files it'll also scan the directories or many shares, so you can have additional shares to scan that you wish to use the antivirus for. Now if you notice underneath, I created a quarantine share. Now this quarantine share is that if there is a virus, that the antivirus will take the virus files and be able to put them into the quarantine share that we've created for further removal. Now, when you're doing this, you can also use it for a different logical volume. So if you created another logical volume just for the quarantine process, you can do that. So now we've created our NAS shares. Here's what we'll do is we'll go ahead now and go to NAS Settings. And now we're going to select our quarantine share that I've created. Additionally, what I want to point out to everybody, if you notice the question mark right here, it's a quick online help. This basically tells you about the functions it provides for the antivirus protection for the data. Now, the antivirus scans the following types that you see below, and also some of the mail files, Microsoft Office document files, executable files, and of course it talks about the quarantine and what happens when it's created the shares that the files that are infected go into the quarantine directory. And additionally, when you want to scan or look at your scanned viruses or the antivirus logs, I'll go and show you that as well near the end. So the CLAM log does the SAMA and SIF scanning online, and we'll see that it pretty much gives you all the information. So it's quite simple to use. So now we'll go ahead and hit the apply button. And at this point, we should be able to, especially for all of you, is to update the database for the antivirus. So what we need to do at this point is we go to maintenance, then we'll go all the way down to antivirus, and here we have the antivirus functionality ready and available. So at this purpose, we're going to do a scan. We'll just set something up. We'll go for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And we'll select this share, and keep in mind there could be more than one share. So we'll just swing this right over to the right. So now we have our assigned shares, and we'll hit apply. Now the task is created. Keep in mind that DSS uses a lot of tasks for intervals and weekly schedules, especially for backups, snapshots, and data replications. So before we schedule anywhere and be able to start our antivirus application, we want to make sure that we have the latest virus definitions updated. Now, typically, you can do this online. So if we were to search right now ClamAV and we take one of these many sites of the mirror servers to download the latest database, you can. Or you can update the local virus definitions. So if you want to find out where those are located, you just click on the question mark and browse the clamav.net website. So let's go ahead and what we're going to look for is there is usually a file that CLAM provides, a daily CVD. So you want to be able to use this file that basically you upload it, and of course you apply this, and this will update the database. But preferably, let's say you wanted to get the latest and greatest online. So what we'll do is we'll just leave the defaults at the clamav.inode.at, and then of course we can select intervals every 12 hours or 1 hour or 24 hours. So that way it's always continuously updating and checking. At this point, we're just going to click the apply. Now if you notice, I did this on purpose to show you that the database is obviously not running. So what it will recycle to basically let you know, and of course there's no update available. So what does this mean? It means that we probably need to set up our network interfaces to have a gateway and DNS to be able to get to the outside world to download the latest database. So at this point, what we want to do is go to Setup, Network, Interfaces. And we want to enter our DNS settings. So we'll use this DNS server. And then we'll use ETH0 as our connection to the outside world. And there's our gateway. And once this is done, now we can go back and update the database for the antivirus. Okay, that's done. Go back to our antivirus. And now let's see if it updates. So now you see that the database is now working. So this lets you know that you're updating to the latest and greatest of the latest version of the database for the antivirus. So again, we are using ClamAV. Since I updated this yesterday, so the latest was the 27th of June. So today is the 28th, so we will be able to get the latest update. So you want to make sure that this is updated, and it'll let you know through the indication up on top. So we'll let that run and complete itself. Let's look at our task on the left here. So we've had this task of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And remember, you can create many different tasks. So here you have the option of doing an interval, which allows you to do a scan every 10 minutes, 15, 30, 1 hour, 2 hours, and so forth, all the way to a 24-hour time period. Or you could do a weekly. And keep in mind that all the tasks for the DSS, like I stated previously, for backups, data replication, snapshots, they all provide this task schedule that's very useful. And you create many tasks. So if I wanted every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I want to start my scan, let's say after hours or before the morning starts. So here we'll just say at 14, let's go forward, that would be 2 o'clock, 2:14, and then we can do a stop time. But really I want to do, what that means is if I put a stop time on the scan, so the next hour, 15, let's say 15, I'm sorry, I put that in, should be 15, 14, 14, and 15, 14. So it's a 1 hour increment. And I want to do it every week. Or I can do it every even week or odd week of the next following weeks. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and hit my apply button. And now I see I have a task ready to go. And of course you can delete the task right here on this X. If I wanted another task, let's say I wanted to do every interval at 10 minutes, I can apply that task. So you can see you can create many tasks for the antivirus and for different shares. Now if I were to do, let's say I were to do a weekly task for every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and I want to do my start time at 2 o'clock, but no end time. What does that mean? What that means is every day, so on Monday, it's going to start at 2 o'clock, then on the next day, on Tuesday, it will start at 2 o'clock because you're leaving no stop time. And so the stop time is really a 24-hour period. And this also works for other tasks for the data replication, backup, and others that are associated with the task. So I just want to let everybody know that if I don't put a stop time, that doesn't mean that it's continuously running. It'll continuously run, but it'll stop, restart for the next day, and continue the task. So now we have 3 different tasks, and here you can see this has only the start time but no stop time, and thus this here has the start and stop time, and here's your interval time of every 10 minutes. Now keep in mind when you're using antivirus, it can use additional memory, so bear that in mind. How much memory? It depends how big your file system is. If I would say you have 16 terabyte NAS logical volume and you're scanning all the files, bear in mind that can take up resources and time. So you probably would want to add another maybe 2 gig of memory, so that way you're not utilizing all your resources, especially if you're running other tasks. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start, and here we now have the updated version, so there's no version for today's date, so we are updated. And we've started our task. Here you can see that it's created the shares, it's scanning the shares, and it looks like it's completed. Now, how do you verify that it is completed? And then what we'll do is we'll look at the logs. What you want to do is you want to go to Status, Tasks. So here we ran the task at 4:14. It tells you pretty much the information. If it's clean or if there was an infected, it would let you know right here under the status. Here it tells you the action is completed. There are no current tasks running. Here's your time that it started. And if you look here, the capacity that we have here, the number of directories it scanned, the number of files that it scanned, and the infected files as well. so you can get all the information before. Now, if you notice here, I created an error, and it came up with an unknown error too. The reason was that I basically did not have the database updated properly. So you will have an error when you see that. Update your database to the latest. So when you start the DSSV6, make sure that you have the database updated. Where I wanted to do this where it was just early on to show you that if you do get an unknown error, that you need to update the database. Now let's look at the logs. If we look at the logs, what we want to do is you want to go to Status and Hardware. Then scroll down to Logs and click the Download button. Now keep in mind that this can take some time because you're compiling a lot of logs. DSS has all the logs for every function that you are using. So if you set the IP addresses of the NICs, you can verify that, or if there's packet errors you can verify. You can verify pretty much all the tasks that are being run. So we'll let this run, but I have the logs already previously stored. And this is a typical log, and I know it looks confusing for a lot of people, but what I wanted to show you is that we created this scan share for antivirus, and here's our task: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I use a WinRAR program. It's very easy to use, simple, and it puts out a nice output to view and see how your scans. So it basically tells us that it's scanning the share called data, the results, the scan virus, the start time, and so forth. So it also tells you the size, capacity, number of infected files, and the scan time. So it doesn't take too long when it scans, especially I've had the small, but if you remember, if you have 16 terabytes, that can take some time. Sorry, some of you might have a screen that is black. I wonder if we need to change something. I think I got it. There we go. Thanks for letting me know. So here, let me show you again. Let me rehearse this again for you all. What you're going to be looking for is a log file that is called scan_shares antivirus, and of course this is your task. So you right click on it and you go to view. Looks like it came up again. And here we are. Now, and of course this provides you the date and time. Here you'll see 2011, June 28th. And of course the action time of the information that you need. So here you can see that the action was 2, the quarantine, the status number of files 15, number of directories 2 here, capacity is 1.81 megabyte, total number of affected files you can see here is 0. It's hard to make that mouse work, and of course in the scan time. So that's basically the viewable concept of how to look for the logs in the antivirus. So if we look now, we just finished uploading the new logs. So let's take a look at it. Hopefully we can get an update if you guys can see it. Just give me a second now. There we go. Let's see if that works. So I know it's a little tight on the screen here, so maybe I can try to blow it up a little bit so everybody can see it with the font being so small. So here's our new scan that we just performed. And by the way, here's our log for the fresh clam log. Let me show you that. That gives us the database. I'm going to blow up the font for you, so everybody just be patient here. Yeah, I think that'll work. So hopefully you all can see this, is that here you can see the clam update process started, the time, gives us temporary information, name resolution. That's where we tried to do the clam update. And basically what I wanted to show you all is that you could find out from the log what basically would happen. So the name resolution was an issue that we did not have the DNS settings. We did not have the gateway for it to be able to update the log file. Update the database for the CLAM AV. And it can also give you information of other reasons, maybe the problem with the mirror, and you can retry again. So the mirror location site. And again, if you look up on here, here's our log file to show us the scan. So here you can see all the tasks that we've created for each of the, for that share data that we've done for the scanning. So I hope that helps everybody out with how to really effectively use the antivirus. One note, again, I thought I did, was that you want to make sure that the antivirus is always up to date, in that you probably want to keep it up to date either through every 12 hours or 24 hours. Possibly, if there was a high alert, or if your system is in a vulnerable condition where, let's say, it's a major production environment and you don't want it to be too vulnerable, you might want to try every hour. And of course, check with a different CLAM AV site and see if it's able to run the database and complete the database, so that way you're updated pretty much every hour or every 12 hours.